Welcome to Chromebook Accessibility. In this video, we're going to be covering keyboard shortcuts. My name is Eileen Fernandez Parker, and I'm coming to you from Cultivating the Learning. So let's get started. Why are shortcuts important? Well, these keyboard shortcuts can save you time. They also work without a mouse, which is important sometimes for adults and children who maybe don't have manual dexterity, or there might be some physical issues involved. The learning targets for this video are that you can use keyboard shortcuts to increase your efficiency. You're not going to need to use all of them, but some of them you will use more often than others. So for example, in this chart on the right, you can see that you can copy and you can paste without having to right click on things. Sometimes the trackpad on a Chromebook can be difficult for right clicking because it's a two-finger click and some people don't understand how that works. So instead, sometimes it's better for students and adults to use the Control-C and Control-V shortcuts. You can jump from tab to tab right from your keyboard. You can go backwards, left and right. You can open up a brand new tab using Control-T. You can open up a new window, a second window, which sometimes you need to do for side-by-side viewing. You can take partial screenshots and you can take full screen screenshots. And then turning caps lock on and off is a little bit strange on a Chromebook, so we're going to be going over all of those. Okay, so for these Chromebook keyboard shortcuts, the goal is for you to feel like the person in the picture there, because you're going to be discovering hidden features, and it should increase your productivity. All right, so the first thing that you need to know is that you don't want to press on all of the keys simultaneously. You want to press one, and then you want to press a second, and then you want to press the third. And you're holding them down. So it would be Control first, and then add Shift to it, and then add whatever the third button is. And it's not always Control and Shift, but it quite often is. So if you want your own copy of the shortcuts cheat sheet that I'm sharing with you right now, you can hit the Control button, and then you can add the Alt key to it, and then you can add the question mark key. So that's like where you go when you have questions, and so that's a cheat sheet. So if I were to do that right now on my screen, this pops up for you, okay? And you can search up here for whatever you're having a problem with, or you can tab down on the left so that you can find multiple shortcuts that might work for you. So there is specifically an accessibility shortcut here that we will be going over some of those things, but not all of them, but it's a good thing for you to know where you can find all of these. And you can copy and paste this into a document and share it out with your kids. And they can also just access it themselves. All right. So let me close that out, and we'll move on to the next slide. So your power keys are, number one is going to be in blue, and that's the Control key. And there are two Control keys. There's one on the left and there's one on the right of the spacebar. The second is in green, and that is your Shift key. And there's one on the left and one on the right. The search key is, there is only one of those, and that has the magnifying glass on it. That search button is going to be super important because we're going to use it to turn on and off the readability feature, the text to speech. The fourth power button is the Alt button, and there are two of those as well. So these are the keys that you're going to be using over and over and over again with different combinations of the other keys. So you just need to get comfortable with where they are. All right, so these are the popular shortcuts that I shared with you at the beginning. And so with uppercase letters is what we're going to cover on this slide. Now, with a Chromebook, because they are so tight, they did not put a caps lock key on here because there was no room. So what you have to do if you want to uppercase letters is you just hold down the shift key, which most people know that if they've ever taken typing. And there's one on the left and there's one on the right. So you have options. You can either hold down the shift key and then type with one hand, okay? But most of the time you don't have to type in all caps. But if you did need to, there is a way to turn on caps lock, and here it is. You can hold down either of the Alt keys and add the search key to it. That will turn caps lock on. And then when you want to turn it off, you just repeat the Alt and the search key. Okay? Screenshots are super important because sometimes you want kids to turn their work in, or sometimes the kids need to screenshot something to add to a project. So to take a screenshot or a picture, that's what screenshot means, of your entire screen on a Chromebook, you would hold down Control and then you have to hit the monitor key. All right? Now, it's the key above the number 6, and when you click that, it shows all of the windows that you have open. So I'm going to hit it right now, and see how nice that is? It shows you all of the windows you have open, and then you can choose the one that you want to be up front. Okay? Now, if you wanted to, and let me do that for you right now so you can see what happens. When I hit those, it takes a screenshot and you can see it pops up here on the right. It saves it as a picture, a standalone picture. But if you want to have a copy of it that you can just paste somewhere, you have to click that copy to clipboard link. So let me show you that again. Control Window. Here it is. Hit copy to clipboard if you want to just paste it somewhere. Okay? Now, what if you don't want the whole screen? What if you just want a portion of the screen? If that's the case, then what you're going to do is you're going to hit Control and the Shift key, and then you're going to hit the monitor key. So let me show you what happens. When you do that, I'm going to hit Control, Shift, and Monitor. Did you notice the screen darkened a little bit? And maybe I just want this portion of the screen. When I click and drag, you can see how it comes in brighter so the person can see what they are selecting. And then when you let go, it pops up over here again, and it copies to clipboard here. Now, if you want to see that picture up here at the top, it says Show in Folder, because the Chromebook does have a little bit of storage capacity. You cannot install software onto it, but you can save things like images. So this would be all in your My Files downloads, okay? And then for the downloads, they're all going to show up here. Now, what's really nice is if you want to save them into your drive, over here on the left, you can click on the arrow here to expand your Google Drive, and then you can click to expand the My Drive portion of it, and then you can find the folder you want to save it into, and you can just click and drag straight into whatever folder you want to put it in. Okay, so those are just some tips that I wanted to share with you that have to do with screenshotting. All right, and here we go back to our keyboard shortcuts. So this is copy, cut, paste. Okay, now what you need to know is to cut your. If you look at the 3 keys right here, you've got X, C, and V. I tell all of my learners, if you were thinking of scissors, when you open them up, because scissors cut things, when you open them up, it makes the letter X. So X is for cut, C is for copy, V is for paste. So cut, copy, paste. Okay? So to cut it, you have to hold down the Control key, and then you have to hit the X. So we've got Control, and we've got X. And then to copy it, you're going to go Control and C, and then to paste it, Control and V. Very simple, okay? And that will save you trouble from having to right-click and choose things, okay? All right, now, this is so important, split screen. This is unique to a Chromebook, okay? I have not figured out how to do it on a Mac or a PC. If you hold down the Alt key and you hit the left square bracket, watch what happens. Alt, square bracket. It automatically shrinks your screen to one side, okay? Now, your option at that point is if you have two windows open, you can click on the other window and then you can hit the opposite. Oh, I clicked on a link. I'm going to hit Alt and the right bracket, and you see how now I have split screen, okay? Another option, once you've split it this way, is to click on a tab and hold and just drag it over off of the other window. Because when you do, on a Chromebook, when you do Alt and the left or the right bracket, it automatically splits it perfectly in half, okay? So if you want to put it back on, you can just drag it back on like this by clicking and dragging. And then to maximize it, if you want to go back to full screen, you have to choose the middle maximize button. And you can see that word maximize pops up there for you. So I'm going to hit that and go back to full screen. Okay? This was one of the best features I've ever seen. It's just so important when you are learning technology to be able to split your screen. Now, some people don't want to split their screen and they would rather just click and go back and forth between tabs. But for kids, when they're learning, it's probably important for them to know that trick. Okay? All right, moving right along. So, erasing text to the left or erasing text to the right. Everybody knows that the backspace key will erase to the left, right? Correct? But did you know that if you hold down the Alt key, it will erase whatever letter is to the right of it? So on a PC or on a laptop, this would be the equivalent to the Delete key versus the backspace key, okay? So remember, backspace, the button by itself erases whatever's to the left of the cursor, and Alt backspace will erase whatever is to the right. Okay, undo and redo last action. Everybody makes mistakes, right? So a quick keyboard shortcut for undo is to hold down the control key and then hit the letter Z. So here's the control key and here's the letter Z. Now, what if you hit undo 3 times, but you only meant to undo twice and you need to get one of your steps back? Well, if you add the shift key to it, control shift and Z, it will redo whatever the last button was. So you can redo multiple times and you can undo multiple times, okay? The next one is for scrolling up and down pages. Sometimes the kids can scroll using the keypad, but what I often see people do is using the up and down arrows, okay? But what is nice to know is that you can just hit the space bar. So the space bar will scroll up and shift space bar will scroll, space bar by itself will scroll down the page, and then shift space bar will scroll back up the page, okay? So going down versus going up. And this could be super important for kids who don't have manual dexterity for that mouse, right? To get it right on the scroll bar. That can be really hard for people. So spacebar on a Chromebook and shift spacebar. All right, special symbols are all across the top. And you just, same as on a standard word processor, you just hold down the shift key so that you can use any of the top symbols that are on those secondary keys. All right, to open a new tab or a new window, for a new tab, it's Control T, and you should be able to see my tabs up here. If I hit Control plus the letter T, notice I have a new tab, okay? Now, if you want to open a new window, it's Control N, right? T for tab, N for new window. And this is true on all devices, whether it's a Mac, a PC, or a Chromebook. You can open a new window by doing Control N. You can put up a new tab by hitting Control T. Okay? Now, the next thing you're going to love. You know how you accidentally will close a tab that you needed, and then you're freaking out. So let me just show you up here. If I close this new tab, and if I close my Google Drive tab, if I hold down Control plus Shift plus T for tab, it will reopen the last closed tab. So now I'm going to hit Control Shift T, and now you can see that my Google Drive tab is opening. Control Shift T again is going to open up the last tab. I guess since that was a new tab, it's not opening up the new tab. So it'll just go as far as tabs that you have content on them. Okay. All right, so that is it. So hopefully you have found at least 3 shortcuts that you can use. And remember, my favorite is the Alt and the left bracket, which will split the screen in half. That seems to be the number one thing that teachers need, but also students need it. So if you were doing a Google Meet, you could have the Google Meet here, and then you could drag whatever you want to show the kids over here on the right.